Hello, friends. This is the program Empire of Lies, where we discuss manipulation and disinformation in Russian media. Russian TV is turning Orban's visit and the war in Ukraine into a tool for global reinterpretation. The latest episode of the federal talk show Big Game demonstrates the Kremlin's media strategy, characteristic of the late stages of the war in Ukraine, simultaneously creating the illusion of diplomatic activism, emphasizing international support, ignoring its own responsibility for the war, and constructing a new architecture for the international division of the world into the West and the rest of Eurasia. 1. Orban as proof of the European split and the Kremlin's attempt to regain political agency. At the beginning of the program, the hosts demonstratively highlight Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orbán's visit. The scene itself, footage from Vnukovo, a list of Russian officials, comments about its historical importance, is intended to accomplish two goals. First, to show that Europe is bursting at the seams. Orban is described as a thorn in the EU's side, a man who blocks sanctions, and boldly talks about dialogue. The presenters actively emphasize the nervousness of European capitals. They're nervous. They're afraid of low prices for Hungary. This rhetoric obscures the reality. European complaints against Orban concern not energy, but Hungary's systemic deviation from the principles of the rule of law. But the Russian interpretation simplifies everything to an energy struggle and envy. Secondly, Orban is used as a tool for legitimizing Russia. The image of a head of state who continues to attract visitors despite international isolation is created. Dialogue continues, Europe needs Russia. This narrative fits into the overall strategy, demonstrating that Moscow remains part of the European security architecture, despite the war. It was always especially nerve-wracking when Orban did come, because Viktor Orbán is a thorn in the side of the European Union, from their perspective. He's the man who blocks any sanctions agreement, meaning any package against Russia, in Hungary's interests. And he's the man who has in fact built a completely democratic approach in opposition to what's happening in Europe. He says, "Look how much opposition I have in Parliament. Look who owns my committees in Parliament. I held a referendum and the people have spoken." And against this backdrop, of course, there's talk about how, in addition to the gas pipeline to Serbia, as Orban said, we'll help our neighbours and even build an oil pipeline.